Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Bommer 7811-603 medium-duty horizontal pivot. The Bommer 7811 is a medium-duty, hold-open, double-acting floor pivot. Here's what the body looks like. So the 7811 is representative of that. Medium duty, hold open, holds open at approximately 85 degrees. The -603 part of the part number means that it's zinc plated. And the zinc plating refers to the finish plates, the door plates. There's of course two of them required for this installation. Okay, they're identical. That's the heel side of the door. It's the inside. That's what the 603 zinc plated finish looks like. Along with this installation, you're going to get the top pivot assembly. It's a two-part installation. This is the header portion. Okay, this is the door portion. That sets in there like that. You will get a heel plate that will mount on the edge of the door. Got that upside down. And I'll show you how that all goes together in a moment. You, of course, are going to get all of your fasteners, a couple of bags of screws, and then a tension rod. And this tension rod allows you to set the spring tension by inserting the tension rod into the holes that are here. Then you can crank that over. It's threaded, so you can continue to crank that over and set the tension on the spring, which is related to how much force the door is going to operate with. I've got it all the way backed out at this point. So you could set your spring just like this by using this tension rod. Continue to crank it over until the tension on this spring is suitable for your installation. Okay, so the rotation of this, when the door swings in and out, it will be like that. You can see that there is a component here that will go over this bearing. There's a bird's mouth cut into. I know that's hard to see. There's a bird's mouth cut into this component on the inside so that when the door is pushed to approximately 85 degrees, it will hold open, okay, on the bearing here, but of course on the opposite side. So if it was like this, it would hold open. There's a link below this video to the template and to the instructions. I have machined doors for these, and I have installed these in the past, and I won't beleaguer every point of the template because I think after you look at it, it's quite self-explanatory, and if you've installed these before, there's probably no reason for you to look at this video for aid in terms of installation. But if you haven't, then I would like to give you just some bullet points based on my experience. First of all, because the door is double acting, you need to radius the pivoting style of the door. Using this piece of cardboard as an example, okay, you have to radius over this corner, okay, so that the door can double act without the outside corners of the door hitting the jamb, because based on the template, the margin between the edge of the door and the frame is 1/4 inch. And if you didn't radius the edge over, the outside heel of the door is going to hit the frame. The radius that they recommend here is 1.5 inches. the radius of your treatment that you do to the edge of this door cannot be any greater than, of course, the door thickness. Otherwise, it still won't clear. Starting at the top of the door, you're going to machine, and I actually did say that backwards. This is the header portion. You'll machine the header for this figure. Okay. And the dimensions on this are such that you could simply drill 3 holes, like with a Forstner bit, 7/8 diameter, per the center points. You could just drill those and have that sit flush. That'd be an easy way to do it. So that's the header portion, and it's going to install. You're going to mount this per the template, which is going to be at 1.5 inches from the center of the pivot to the edge of the door. 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches is going to be your vertical axis of pivot. Okay. Therefore, it's 1.75 inches from the jamb, because you've got a 1/4 inch gap between the door and the frame. And you'll do the same preparation in the top of the door for the female part of this top pivot assembly. Okay. Now, going back to the radius on the pivot style, if you have any questions on that, by all means reach out to me. But the way that I would do it is I would lay the door flat on sawhorses, and I would use a large cove bit, a round over bit, and I would install that into my router. And generally a round over bit diameter is so large that it won't fit into the plastic screwed on base of a router. So I would have to have a modified router plate for doing this. But when you have a large round over bit to the proper radius, so if your radius is 1.5 inches on that round over, you've got a bit that's 3 inches wide. It's a very large round over bit. But anyway, that's how it's done. I would put the door down. I would do one edge of the door, and then I would obviously turn the door over and then do the other edge. Both on one side of the door. So you've got a radius this side, and then turn the door over and then do this side. So if I were doing it with this piece of cardboard, I would round over this edge, I would turn the door over, and I would round over this edge. Now, per the template, you are not, it's not stated that you're going to be doing the same treatment to the opposite side of the door. However, they generally are radiused on both the pivoting side of the door and the opposite side of the door. And then that would allow you to have a 1/4 inch margin, and actually you could probably make it tighter than a 1/4 inch, between the jambs and the door. So if you have a 36 inch wide opening, you'll deduct a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch here, and then your net door width will be 35.5, provided that you're going to round it all over. Now you could cheat that down a little bit. I believe you can get that down a little bit more with that 1.5 inch radius. But per the template, that's what you would be doing. Moving on to the bottom of the door, at first glance I think it looks somewhat intimidating, but it really isn't. The only thing that you really need to accomplish, looking at the lower left portion of the template, or the instructions down here, okay, you can't see that, but that's, you'll look at it on your screen. You need to just make that cutout, just as it's shown per the dimensions. And if you do that, this is going to basically just fit to the bottom of the door, providing that you're doing it to those dimensions, and then it's really just, quite frankly, that simple. There is a detail on the instructions down here at the bottom that you do have to chisel out a groove for this pin because it will travel. And you can't really make it travel all the way by hand, but you'll see that that pin needs to travel. And that's what that extra groove for is in the bottom of the door. And once you have the preparation done at the bottom of the door, you can then attach the entire assembly with screws to the bottom of the door and to the heel edge through these holes. There's a total of 4. One here, and then 2 over here. And once you've got that mounted, you're basically good to go on that. So that's step 3 of the. We haven't really been going. I haven't been calling these out as steps, but just coincidentally been kind of going in that pattern. Step 4 and step 5 is basically the installation of the door into the opening, and you can see how they want you to do that. Basically here. Once the plate is attached to the bottom of the door, you'll tip it into the opening as shown. Then, at that point, the final thing that you really have to do is to attach the heel plate, okay, onto the edge. So the heel plate's going to go onto the edge, as it's shown in the template. Then what happens at that point is the cover plates, come up and finish that off. This is how that works. Okay. So it's very straightforward, seeing how all that's going to join together. Your 2 plates and your heel plate. Important to know, Bommer manufactures different calibers of this hardware. There's light duty, there's medium duty, and heavy duty. This is the medium duty. The 7801, for instance, would be a lighter duty version. And you have to confirm that you do want the hold open, which is what this is. The 7811 is intended for doors 1 3/8 to 1 3/4 thick. Important. Any thinner than 1 3/8 and this pivot assembly is not going to fit on it because the inner, this mechanism is too wide to fit into such a thin door. Anything below 1 3/8, up to 90 pounds, and 3 foot wide. I have personally seen these pivots installed on kitchen doors, between kitchen doors and dining room doors, in homes, in restaurants, and I've seen them installed, and they've been there for decades. So it's a great, it's really, a great piece of hardware. What you're going to, end up finding is that these plates, when they're installed on the door, are going to be, you're going to see that the in step 6, install side plates as shown. Use top holes in side plates only. Okay, because you're going to be making a large cutout in the bottom of the door. Okay, and then this back plate, or the heel plate I've called it, will attach to the edge of this again. If you have any questions on the Bommer 7811-603 double acting floor pivot with hold open and a zinc plated finish, or any other Bommer product, feel free to reach out to us. Bommer is proudly manufacturing their products domestically, and that's something that I'm proud to represent them as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.